Hey everyone, Grandmaster Ben Feingold here. I didn't make a video last night because I went to sleep instead. So the first video I made from the Sinkfield Rapid and Blitz had to do with the first 2 days of Kasparov's play. They finished the Rapid. Aronian is in clear first, and Nakamura and Caruana are tied for second. Now the Blitz starts today, and that's 2 days, 9 games each day. The Rapid games count twice as much as the Blitz games because there's twice as many Blitz games. So for the final standings, if you win a Rapid game, you get 2 points. And if you draw a Rapid game, you get 1 point. And then you get 0 if you lose. And then for the Blitz, it's just regular. So basically, you just pretend the Rapid was a double Rapid, and whatever result happened the first game happened the second game. Let's see, I think Kasparov, Karjakin, and Anand are... No, that's not right. Kasparov, Karjakin, and Navara are tied for last, I think, 8th through 10th. And then everybody else is like sort of jumbled up. But anyway, the purpose of this video, I want to show some interesting positions, blunders, fantastic moves, etc. from the first 3 days. So there was actually a lot of interesting stuff from Kasparov the first 2 days, but we already looked at that. So we're going to look at one Kasparov position from day 3, and we'll look at other positions. Okay, so many of you recognize this position, although it was 3 days ago, so you might have forgotten. This was the first crazy thing that happened. This was in Lequan Lim's game versus Fabiano Caruana from round 1. Fabiano just took a bishop on d4 with his rook, and then Lequan Lim took the rook, and Fabiano queened, and everybody expected black to win, and black is winning, so makes sense. But okay, it's Rapid, so both players have less than a minute, I'm sure. Possibly they both have less than 30 seconds, so anything can happen. Now, I want to correct some misinformation about the time control. It's a 10-second delay, not 30 seconds, and it's not an increment. You don't get more time. It's actually a delayed delay. It's a Bronstein delay. So you get the delay after you move, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what it is. So, for example, if you had 20 seconds and you use 3 seconds, it would go down to 17, then it would go back to 20 because you haven't used any time. As long as you use less than 10 seconds, you just get your time back. If you use more than 10 seconds, you get 10 seconds back because it's a 10-second delay. So it works the same as a 10-second delay. However, it's easier to lose on time in this format because you get the delay after the move. Let me give you an example. Let's say you had 15 seconds left and you took 16 seconds, you would lose on time because you haven't gotten your 10 seconds back yet. However, if the delay was before the time started running and you had 15 seconds and you used 16 seconds, you would only use 6. So you would still have 9 seconds left. It's hard to explain, I guess, unless I can show you the clock. But anyway, it's a delay. It works like a delay. It's the delay after you make the move, which is weird. Okay, so, yeah. All right, so this position, Lequan Lim played the aggressive rook to d7, threatening a perpetual and threatening checkmate. For example, if black makes a stupid move, white checkmates black this way. And I guess I'm not sure. I'd have to either think a lot or use the engine, either one. After this, maybe black can draw. Yeah, I don't think you can win. Let's see. If I want to win, I have to do this. But I don't think you can win. Yeah. I don't think so. Okay, but anyway, it doesn't matter much because obviously black is up a queen, so he can't allow that stuff. Okay, so black played a good move, king f8, nothing wrong with that. Turns out king h8 also wins, but man, king h8 is tough. Okay, and he took the pawn, and now white's threatening mate by playing rook g8, rook g7 mate. Okay, now Fabiano blundered. The winning move isn't very easy to see. I think there's only one winning move. Maybe there's more than one, but definitely one move wins. That move is rook f2. And the idea is very simple. When you try to mate me, I block with my rook. Can't get simpler than that. But rook f2 is hard to see, especially when you have seconds left. And basically, that's white's only idea is rook g8, rook g7. So that's the end of that idea. And then if it's black's turn, he plays like queen takes e4 and zip a queen. So rook f2 would have won. Fabiano played king e8. And now he's losing very simply. But Le Quang Lim didn't see it, and he made a move where he's better instead of winning. The win actually isn't difficult at all. You just win the queen, which is funny. You just keep checking him, and obviously king e7 and king f7 walk into checkmate. Now we have king c6. It looks like black's winning, but it's funny. His king has nowhere to go. And whether he goes to b5 or b6, rook b8 check wins the queen. So this would have ended the game immediately. White would have won. The players missed that because they have no time. So white played rook a7. Now, this position, the only way to fight on is to play rook f2 again and give up your rook. And then, I don't know, I would guess white's winning. But yeah, the computer says like 1.5. That's not really helpful. I think white should win. But, okay, it's a rapid game, so either side could win. Both have like 10 seconds left. All right. So he had to play rook f2 again, but didn't see it the first time, didn't see it this time. Instead, he played king f8. Now, this was really nice because people probably thought it would be perpetual or something, but this was a beautiful win by Le Quang Lim. He checked. Obviously, king e7 hangs mate in 1, so it's not good. King f7. And now the very instructive rook a to g8, threatening rook 6 to g7 mate. And Fabiano found the only way to prevent that. He resigned. Although, I mean, you could prevent it by giving all your pieces away. You could play rook g2 and then pin the rook with your queen. But I mean, you could not get mated, but you lose all your pieces. So unstoppable mate, and black resigned. So yeah, people are always writing in the comments, oh, this was very undeserved, and that guy was lucky. I mean, it's chess. You play well or you don't. You blunder or you don't. So it's game 25. If you blunder, then you should have played faster earlier. If you make a lot of mistakes, you lose. That's what chess is. So nothing is undeserved in chess. And when you're losing and you win, that shows that you're even stronger, because most people, when they're losing, give up. And when I say they give up, they don't necessarily resign. They just psychologically give up. But that's what separates the top players from people like us, is when they're losing, they play great, and they win and draw often. So nothing is undeserved, and it was a nice win from a lost position. Mating attack, but down a queen. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so no, I don't want to do that. That would have ended the video. That would have sucked. What do I want to do? I want to do this. You're going to click on the right X here. No, we won't save that. Okay, the next game is Aronian Navara, and I got to do stuff. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so this was maybe the best game of the tournament so far. Aronian sacrificed a piece and got this really nice center. This is also round 1 against David Navara, and Aronian played e6. And when you have the engine running for a very short period of time, like less than 10 seconds, it actually says black is fine. But if you let it run for like 3 minutes, it says white's winning. So, hey, truth hurts. Basically, white has everything, and white's down a piece. But white has 2 connected pass pawns in the center. White has great rooks. White has great bishops. White's queen is coming into the attack. Black's king is defenseless. And black's queenside pieces are not helping. So white's winning here, but you have to finish him off. Knight f6, the engine move, blocking, saving the knight, blocking the attack. Aronian sacrifices the exchange to open black's king, a very good move, and then plays queen f5. Now, I don't know if white's winning, but I think practically white's winning, because even though white's down a rook, white has a huge attack with all of his pieces, and black's rook on a8 isn't playing. So the fact that white has a mating attack and has 2 connected pass pawns in the center, and it's funny, the pass pawns aren't really good for queening. In this particular instance, they're good for destroying black's defenses. All of black's pieces are terrible because of those advanced pawns. Okay, Navara played queen d8, defending his f-pawn. Rook e4, getting the last piece into the attack, with the idea of rook g4 check, then rook h4. Rook e7, rook g4 check. If you play the sort of obvious rook g7, looks good, then I play bishop e4, which threatens queen h7 mate. And I think the engine actually announces mate here, because queen h7 mate's hard to stop. Yeah. So Navara played king h8, I think. Yeah. Okay. And again, most people, when they're not doing a lot of calculation, just always play queen takes f6 check. You take a pawn with check. Taking pawns isn't what you're trying to do here. You're down a rook. You're trying to mate your opponent. And letting him defend with something like bishop g7 or rook g7, that's not something you want to do. You want to keep attacking. Okay, so bishop e4. And now you can't play bishop g7 or rook g7 because you got to defend h7. So, okay, rook c8. I think the engine sacrifices the bishop for nothing, just to prevent mate. So it's still winning for white. Rook h4, attacking h7 again. Yeah. So he played king g8 to try to run away. Problem with queen c7, which defends h7, I think there's two ways to win. I could play queen f6, and if you go to g7 with a bishop or a rook, you're not defending h7 anymore. And maybe more spectacular is at d6. And the idea is, if you play the obvious queen takes d6, then h7's hanging, because your queen's not on c7 anymore. So, yeah, that's also interesting. I'm not sure if d6 wins because I have bishop takes e4. And that's, now we're getting a little complicated here. Queen takes f6, bishop g7. So maybe d6 doesn't work. Maybe it does. I don't think it works. I think bishop takes e4 is okay. So probably, wow, actually, now that I'm looking, bishop f4 looks pretty good. Wow. Man, the truth hurts. Man. All right, yeah, I'm scared. I don't even want to look at this position. It's like a horror movie. Okay, so, all right, so he played king g8, running away. Rook takes h7. You can't play rook h7 because queen h7 is mate. Bishop takes d5, too late. And now, very simple mate, you just ignore the bishop. Queen g6 check, rook g7, and now queen h5. This is nice because if he had played queen h5 immediately in this position, then we have bishop g7 stopping. But if you play bishop g7 here, we have a mate in 2. Anybody see it? Anyone? You? No? Yeah, rook h8 is a nice, you'll see this tactic a lot in tactics books and puzzles and online. Yeah. Okay, so queen g6, rook g7's forced to avoid that mate, and then queen h5, threatening rook h8 mate. Most people would resign here, but Navara let his opponent checkmate him. That's nice. Mate. Okay, so that was, I think for quality, that was the best game of the Rapid. Round 1, Aronian Navara. He just played very aggressively, sacrificed a piece, sacrificed the exchange, and, I mean, just won a brilliant game. Very nice game by Aronian. I think the game of the Rapid. Okay. I'll try not to delete the recording again. Let's see. And this is Caruana versus Karjakin. Okay, so this game didn't get a lot of publicity. Basically, the first 2 days they just talked about Kasparov. The third day they gave some other games some play. This is a Queen's Indian gone wrong. Karjakin probably the best Queen's Indian player in the world, but you know it's Rapid, and sometimes you can't figure everything out. He obviously recaptured on g6. And white's up the exchange, and black has a pass pawn on b3 as compensation. But again, white has a lot of attacking force, and Caruana finished the game very nice. Fabiano played bishop takes g6, threatening queen h7 mate. So Karjakin took it. Queen e6 check. Obviously, you can't block with the knight because my queen is on f7, my rook is on f7. So you have to move the king. You play king h7, trying to run away from the queen. Bishop takes d6, which gives white the f7 square. Queen takes d6. Please trade queens. Please trade queens. Nope. Rook f7 check. And if you play king to h8, I play queen h3 check, and then queen h7 mate. And if you play king g8, I have a very nice move. Rook takes f8, double check. So you have to take with the king, and now your queen is hanging. Okay, so Karjakin saw all that and didn't want to do any of that, so he played king h6. Queen h3 check. There's one legal move, so he played it. And now, this would actually be a good puzzle, too, that you would probably see on chess.com or something, or any site you go to. Well, I'm sure a lot of moves win, because that king's not good. But he played the very quiet move, g3, threatening queen h4 mate. The truth hurts. There's no defense to queen h4 mate. So normally, when you have a lot of attacking force and your opponent has no defense, you win. So very nice sacrifices by Fabiano, beating Karjakin, who's quite a good rapid player, but isn't having a good event. And here Karjakin, I think he resigned here. He didn't play to mate, yeah. So very nice win by Fabiano. That was in round 3. Okay, Lequang Lim versus Nakamura. I could have shown a lot of this game, but okay, the video's not an hour long. So, all right. So in this position, White made the shouldering move that they talk about a lot. He played king c5. He wants to get out of the way of his b pawn because queening is good, but he doesn't want Black's king to come over, so he stops king d4 and king c4 by moving his king to c5. And I think if Nakamura had 10 minutes here, he would easily find the right move, but both sides have less than a minute, so you just make a move and you hope. Yeah, it's tough. King c3 and king c2 both draw to play king b3. So for example here, then we just keep coming, for example, and yeah, there's nothing to do. In fact, if worse comes to worse, Black is going to be winning at some point. So in fact, this is already very good for Black. I don't know if Black's winning here, but I'll take Black. So yeah, so king c3 is a draw. I think the engine plays like this, if I remember correctly. And then this is a draw. In fact, Black's not worse here. Nobody's worse here. Okay. If either side wins the pawn, it doesn't matter. It's still a draw. Okay, so that was a draw, king c3. Instead, Nakamura made the losing move, king e4, trying to get his king around the other way. That doesn't work. Yeah. And this actually reminds me of a game that I played in 1984 at the Michigan Open. I think I made a video about... Yeah, I did. It wasn't on my channel here. It was for chess.com. It's one of the positions. I just made a video series called Pieces versus Pawns. And it was... my opponent had a bishop, and I had A and B pawns. And it was a draw, and he made a mistake, and I won. It was very similar to this. Weird because, not that the game was played in 84, but I just made a video about it like a week ago. So that's weird. Then this happened. If you're a member of chess.com and you see my bishop versus pawns video, which will come out in 2 or 3 weeks, I guess, you'll see a very similar position to this. And the pawns win. So king e6, king b6. And basically, White's going to play king a7 and then just push his pawns. Once White's king goes to a7, that's it. b6, a6, b7, resigns. Well, Nakamura knows that, so he plays bishop e2, which prevents king a7. King c6, which prevents Black's king from coming in again. And yeah, the pawns are too good. And now he resigned because you can't stop king a7. Although I guess b7 is just winning. Yeah, so everything wins now. So he resigned. Tough loss because he had a draw near the end, and the game was very topsy-turvy. I think White was winning, then it was a draw, then White was winning, then it was a draw, and then again. So that's what happens in rapid chess, and it's tough. Okay, so now we do Navara versus Karjakin. Another game where, in fact, I thought, hold on a second, let me go back. Yeah, okay. Navara's white against Karjakin, another Queen's Indian gone wrong for Karjakin. They had been repeating. It went knight check, king h7, knight g4 check, king g8, knight, okay. And now White can draw, obviously, by playing knight g4 check, repeating the position, which he already did. But he always repeat. Now, White's down a pawn, but I mean, look at his attack. Crazy. So obviously doesn't want to draw. but he still repeated once because he's a pro. Technically, rook takes h6 is best, but, I mean, white's up material, I'm mating him, so it's just completely lost. Still, it would have lasted longer. And now white played a very nice forced checkmate, played knight f7 check, giving him access to the h8 square, and then rook d7 check. And obviously, if I go here, this is mate, and it's a sort of a nice mate. If you play the other legal move, I play this mate, which I think is really cool for some reason. It looks like semi-illegal almost that this happened. So, and again, instead of getting mated, Karjakin resigned. So, yeah, a couple of nice wins from Navara, the wild card. And Navara's been really good for many years. He's been over 2,700, and I'm not surprised he's winning games. He's still not having the best tournament in the world, but, I mean, he's obviously belongs in the field. Okay, and Caruana Dominguez is next. Again, I could have shown you 20 moves ago, 30 moves ago, but I got to show you something. Okay, black was better in a rook ending, and then things went wrong, and now white's better. And black has two moves to draw here. Black can play rook d5 or rook h4 check, and the computer says all zeros. It's not all zeros because white's trying to win, but the engine realizes it's a draw. Actually, no, it's white's move. Okay, yeah, white played rook c1, sorry. Okay, so this is a position where we could play rook d5 and rook h4, and your engines will all say it's a draw. In fact, this is 6 pieces, so you can go online or on your phone, or if you bought it, and look at the database, the table bases, and it just plays perfectly here. So at least 2 moves draw. I think only 2 moves draw. Rook d5 and rook h4 check. Instead, Dominguez blundered, and he lost a rook and pawn ending, which he really couldn't lose, but bad stuff happened in rapid. He played king g2. And this is funny because this reminds me of the game where Nakamura lost to Mamajarov, where he promoted to a knight to be silly, and it backfired. Because in that game, they had a very similar thing happen. In a very similar position to this, it looks like it's a draw because if you take on c5, for example, I check. If you block with the rook, then I just trade everything. Okay, and that's probably a draw. And this is the same. I'm drawing. Hooray. Okay, so maybe Dominguez thought that when he played king g2, but he forgot, just like Mamajarov played against Nakamura, you can play rook check first before you take the pawn, forcing the king to the back rank. And I remember Mamajarov forcing Nakamura's king to the back rank, and that was a little bit surprising because I didn't see it. And then after the king goes to the back rank, we take, and now we're winning. So unfortunate for black. Dominguez was a pawn up in the end game. He lost his pawn. He got to a drawn ending, and then he lost another pawn, and then you lose. And that's what happens in rapid. Rapid's tough. A lot of people are saying this guy is unlucky and that guy's unlucky. I mean, Caruana was unlucky in round 1 when he lost to Lu Klong Lee when he was up a queen, but he's very lucky this game, and you can look at a lot of games. I prefer to be lucky than not lucky when they look at my tournament. They can claim I didn't play well and I got lucky, but if I got lucky, that means I won. So, and I don't know if he resigned here. No, he kept playing. Didn't play very long. Yeah, okay. And he resigned here because the white rook is cutting off the king. Very easy win. So, yeah, unfortunate for Dominguez. In fact, before the last game of the tournament, of the rapid, that was the only game that he lost, a game that he almost couldn't lose. Aronian beat him in a nice game in the last game, but yeah, Dominguez actually did pretty well. Okay, and Anand versus Navara. We got a lot of Navara. Anand didn't win a lot of games, and he shouldn't have won this game. This game was up and down. I think Navara was better earlier on, but they got this position, and well, if you're a student of mine, you watch a lot of my videos, this is very funny. Although it's not actually, it's not really what I teach, but it's so close that I'll take credit for it. So in this position, there's 2 logical moves for black, bishop f1 and f3. And obviously, if you're my student, always play bishop f1, never play f3. And that applies here, although when I'm actually teaching seriously, that's for white, not for black. But I'll take credit for it because that's what happened. Bishop f1 is probably a draw, although white is better. Probably a draw, though. And f3 loses. So he played, I'm sorry, I always have the wrong person to move. Okay, so white played rook e6. And again, bishop f1 is probably a draw, but Navara played f3, which loses. And yeah, you want to be able to push either pawn and try to promote. But once you play f3, you've basically stopped both of your pawns. The f pawn can't move anywhere, and the e pawn can't go to e3 because there's a rook on e6. So f3 doesn't help at all. So king g3 and king h4. White's king is safe, and white's pawns are ready to go. And you can't take on c4, although you'd like to, because of knight d6 check, winning your bishop. Unless it's mate. So it doesn't win your bishop because it's mate. Well, that was close. Okay, checkmate. You win the bishop if you want him to suffer. All right, so you can't take on c4 because you get mated. And so he played rook to g2 because he wants to take the f pawn. Knight check, you have to play king f4, and knight g4. Now black can't do anything. Yeah. So white's threatening rook f6 mate, and white just defended his f pawn. And if you don't like rook f6 mate, pushing the d pawn's pretty good. So black went from equal like 5 moves ago to worse to dead lost. So the chess is tough. Actually, the main mistake black made earlier was moving his king up the board, which you normally would do in an endgame, but here you're getting checkmated. So when the king was back on, e7, f7, white wasn't queening his d pawn and black wasn't getting checkmated. Now both are happening. Okay, so he played rook takes knight to avoid rook f6 mate, and took on c4. And Anand had nice endgame technique, winning up the exchange. Yeah, he wants to take on h7, so black is trying to distract him. And he defended h7. And now this is very nice, rook f5. He wants to take the pawn on f3. And the idea is, if you go into this pawn ending, white wins easily by playing this move. Obviously, if I take on f3, I'm winning. So the only variation of consequence is this. And we are just in time. Okay, and white wins. And both players saw that. So he can't take the rook. He played king e6. And Anand went yum, yum, yum. Rook takes f3. And the king and pawn ending is an easy win. Navara played a very strange move here. I mean, you could resign here, but he played h5. It's weird. And then he resigned. So it's a strange way to end the game, but okay. So Anand was probably slightly worse, then he was equal, then he was slightly better, and then he won. So a very up and down game, but that's what we see in Rapid. And last but not least, what you've all been waiting for, is the Kasparov-Navara game. I guess all of Navara's games are strange. And there was a lot of ups and downs in this game. I could have showed you the whole game, but again, this isn't a 1-hour video. So in this position, in this game, Kasparov played strategically in masterful fashion and was winning. And then tactics happened and time trouble happened. So then we get to toss a coin. And Navara played rook takes h2. I actually knew whose move it was that time. Amazing. And now this was strange. I understand blundering. I understand having no time. I understand a lot. This I don't understand. I mean, white's trying to queen his c pawn. And if it's white's move, he's not in check. He plays rook a8 check, king e7, c7. And I mean, that's, for any grandmaster, that's easy. So black's only hope is to get his rook behind the c pawn. So a very strange blunder from Kasparov here, playing king e3, when you could play king c3, and all the c file is protected, the whole file. You can't go to c1, c2, c4, c5. So I don't know what black does here. I guess you could play f4, bishop f5 and give a piece away. Probably can't even do that, because I could play e6. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. White's completely winning here. Okay, he played king e3, which was really weird, because black played rook c2. So sometimes when you make mistakes like that, it doesn't matter because you're still winning. It matters here. Now you're not winning. So that was a really weird thing to do to play king e3. I'm baffled. I don't know why he did that. I know he had no time on his clock, but I mean the guy wants to play rook c2 and stop you from queening, so he played king c3. That's just very strange. Okay, so Kasparov played e6, trying to get his knight in the game and get his rook in the game. h3, knight b4, attacking the rook. f4 check. f4 check's interesting because if you take on f4, rook check wins the knight. If you don't take on f4, black has 2 passed pawns, and the bishop can go to f5 later if need be. So f4 check. Computer doesn't like f4 check, but I understand that move. Okay, king d4, stopping rook c4. h2, I understand that move. And Kasparov played correctly. Rook check, king c5, bishop e4. And I think these positions are drawn, but I mean, in rapid, it's probably not going to be a draw. Somebody's going to win. So everybody's queening. c7, bishop b7, king b6, bishop c8. And this is a draw, but with perfect play. Rook takes c8 is not a bad move. Queen, rook check, you have to take, and then queen, and then you play king e7. Okay, in this position, either queen c7 or queen c5 draws. In fact, they both might draw. I know one of them draws, but I think they both do. And then we check forever. I think the problem is if black runs his king down the board, he can't really get to e4 because then the king and queen are lined up. So queen b7, queen c6 wins for white. And otherwise, we're just perpetual checking. Anyway, when Kasparov played knight c6, looked good to me. I would have played knight c6, so I don't blame him. It looks like black has to play king d6, and then queen d7's mate. So I guess the only way to not play knight c6 is to realize king d6, queen d7 mate. So you can't do that. And the only other legal move is what Navara played. And he probably thought, yeah, I'm up a queen, but you're not up a queen. And not only not up a queen, you're losing. And Navara said about 5 moves before he did this, he saw this. He saw that when they both queen, that he had queen c6 winning. So pretty good with no time on his clock. And this is winning because I have this passed f-pawn, and white's passed a-pawn isn't going to queen, and then e-pawn's not going to queen either. So, yeah. If you take with the queen, well, he did take with the queen. If you take with the king, I go rook check, and I take your queen. And again, this pawn's queening. So Kasparov took with the queen, and rook d6, obviously, and he just couldn't believe it. Now black's winning. It was, I mean, I guess you could avoid playing knight c6 because you know your opponent's going to play queen c6 because of queen d7 mate in the other variation. I mean, your opponent's not going to walk into main 1, so queen c6 is forced. And then you just have to see that you're losing your queen. And if he saw that, he wouldn't have played knight c6. Man, I thought knight c6 was good. I thought he's winning a queen, but Navara saw more. And here he resigned. He could take and here, and I'm queening my f-pawn, and you're actually just 1 tempo too short. Yeah, if you could queen here, or but you play this and you got nothing. Yeah. That's unfortunate. So after rook d6, Kasparov resigned. That was shocking because I didn't show you the whole game. You've probably seen it, but Kasparov just outplayed Navara the whole game and got a strategically winning position, +2, +3, +4. Black had no counterplay. Black's bishop on g6 was terrible the whole game. And then time trouble set in, and Magnus Carlsen actually had a very interesting tweet. He said when the clock's running low and you have no time, then your mind isn't logical anymore. He didn't say that. He said it much more poignantly than I did, but you get the idea. When your clock is low, blunders happen, which I guess is good for us. It's not good for the players because the level of play is lower, but we see a lot of more decisive games in a slow tournament. For example, in the last round, round 9, yesterday, there were no draws. So there's a lot of mistakes when it's rapid, and when they have a lot of time on their clock, they make fewer mistakes. So that was the first 9 games, the whole rapid tournament of the Sinquefield Rapid and Blitz. 9 games of Blitz today, 9 games of Blitz tomorrow, and we'll have a champion. All right, this is Grandmaster Ben Feingold with a recap of the Sinquefield Rapid. Please like and subscribe here on YouTube, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're doing some work at the chess club later today, so I'll be busy. And then, go everybody in the Blitz. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.